Hello. All right. Welcome everyone to this episode of Your Business in HD. My name is Jen Dice. I am a human design coach and marketing strategist for entrepreneurs. If you are just jumping on live, hashtag live. If you guys are catching the replay, hashtag replay. But thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to dive into this topic of building a magnetic brand using your human design. And so this topic came about because one of the things I get asked a lot about, especially when blending human design with marketing, is my clients are looking for help, clarity, guidance on ways that they can get a little bit more unstuck in what their next steps are when it comes to creating putting themselves out there, creating content, showing up on social media, marketing their business, getting their messaging down. And what platform should they be on? These are all things that a lot of my clients are kind of like trying to figure out what their next steps are. This is something that these are things that they are currently working on when it comes to their business, their marketing, and trying to get their offers out there, trying to get their message out there, trying to really create and that impact that they want through their business. And so this was kind of brought about. So by just for an example, like one of my clients that I worked with, she had this goal of creating this big impact, this massive impact, and this movement amongst her clients, her audience. And she just didn't know like the best way to get her message out to her people. She had been trying some things. She had been posting on social media. She had just been experimenting and testing, but she felt like she was almost like throwing spaghetti at the wall and just wasn't sure if it was working, if it was right for her, how she felt about it, and where it was best in her best interest to focus putting her time, energy, and effort into to get that return, to really start to reach the right people, which is what we all want. We want to be able to have a system for our marketing that, number one, works for us, but also reaches the right people, so that when we pour our energy and our time and our effort into something, it's working for us. So she just didn't know the best way to get that message out there. And she was also working on deciding like the right platforms and ways for her to create content. And so we sat down and worked together. And the way I love to work with through my own signature process and working with human design, because there are many human design experts out there. We all have our different ways and unique ways of doing things. I personally pull in the experience utilizing and experimenting with human design and my training in human design with my own personal experience and the work that I've done in the past with marketing, organic marketing strategy through the Pinterest marketing company that I used to run, in that marketing experience blended together is kind of how I've developed my unique system and strategies and processes to work with my clients through. So we worked through just this process of really pulling out key pieces of her human design. So getting into the human design piece, uncovering your chart, but also based on what she was working on and what she wanted to focus on, pulling out the right pieces from her chart, so that she was able to then walk away with a plan for what she was going to do next, a little bit more clarity on the way she was going to go about creating content and how she was going to start creating content, and just permission to start creating in a way that worked for her and show up in a way that felt good to her. And so if you guys are just hopping on now, that's kind of what we're going to be chatting about. So if you have felt like that before, you felt like you have tried the things in the marketing, you're not sure what's working, you really want to get your message out there, and you're just not quite sure what your next steps are, you can go ahead, raise your hand, drop something in the comments for me like, heck yes, this is me. And if you're just hopping on, welcome again. My name is Jen Dice. I'm a human design coach and marketing strategist for entrepreneurs, and I help women in business get crystal clear on who they are so they can amplify their impact, and really start to create that hell yes business and life using their human design by really focusing in and honing in on their mission, your messaging, and really connecting with the right people through your marketing. So we are chatting, just to recap, what are we talking about today? We are talking about building a magnetic brand using your human design. So This is where if you are completely brand new to human design and you're interested in learning more about how, maybe you're entrepreneur and you're working through some of these things that I'm talking about and you can relate to it, but you're kind of new to human design, you're not quite sure what it is. Don't worry, I've got you. If you want to dive into this a little bit while I'm talking, you can pause this video and go to mybodygraph.com and pull your free chart, because that's going to be useful for the next couple of tips I'm going to give you in this video. But that is the best way you can get started, is just to pull your chart and learn your human design type, because we're going to dive into that in just a minute. So how do we build that magnetic brand using your human design? Here are 3 takeaways I want you to walk away with. And these are the things that I worked on with this particular client and these key pieces we pulled from her chart. We went deeper, obviously, but these are just some of the bigger takeaways that you can walk away with and start to implement and experiment with in your own business and marketing. So the first takeaway is, when you pull your human design chart, so if you've gone and done that, or your human design type, is to start with your energy type and use your energy type as that first layer, that first level in which you're going to start approaching your content or your marketing with, or you're building that message or getting that message out there to become this magnetic brand. So your energy type, there are 5 energy types in human design. You are either going to be a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, a reflector, or a manifester. That is the bigger picture overview of the different types. As you go down deeper into the layers of your specific chart is like a fingerprint. There is nobody else out there that has your exact chart. The way, like if you look at the graph on the left-hand side, there's shapes and colors and channels and gates and numbers. That is where you dive into some of those deeper layers. Like nobody else has that unique energetic blueprint like you do. So, but we start at that higher level. We start with that energy type of your human design. So for example, like if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, we start with the energy type. Why? Number one, it's the reason we start with the energy type is because this helps us, it helps to tell you how and what to share and how to share it in, like, whether it's your content, your messaging, whatever you're trying to create in your business. This will help tell you what to share and how to share it. And if you look on your human design chart, if you've pulled that chart from My Body Graph, there's a summary on the right-hand side, and there are 2 pieces of information that go with your energy type. So for example, if you are a generator or a manifesting generator and you're listening to this, the 2 pieces of information on your chart is, you want to look for what it says by your not self theme and your signature theme. Your not self theme is going to say frustration, and your signature theme is going to say satisfaction. These pieces of information are useful because they're going to be your guide rails and your guardrails, and helping you determine where you're stepping out of alignment in your marketing, in your content creation, in your messaging. So if somebody told you, if you want to grow your business, you want to market your business from a content perspective, you just have to show up, or you just have to post every day, or you have to create 5 reels a week, or you have to go live 3 times a week. And it's this system that is arbitrarily given to you. It's worked for somebody else, but the key point is it's a system, it's working, but it's working for somebody else. In human design, the human design pieces that we're pulling in is to help you figure out what works for you and how you're designed. So by looking at your energy type, and when you're testing and trying these things, this is going to give you that awareness of, okay, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to create in this manner, but I'm feeling more of this frustration. That is your signal you're stepping out of alignment. Or if I am creating in this sort of a way, I'm feeling a little bit more satisfied, this feels good to me, that is a sign that you are creating it from a place of alignment. So that's just kind of why we start with the energy types, and kind of dive into different ways, like what you're going to share and how you're going to share it, by those key pieces of helping you with that awareness for your alignment. So this is like when you start to create from this perspective, from this place, it's kind of like you are that lighthouse that you're switching on that light, because the more you start to figure out what's working for you, what feels good to you, what type of content, what platform, what format, how often, like the topics that you're talking about, that is what's going to flip that light on in your lighthouse and start to pull the people in towards you. So that is the first tip. The second takeaway or tip is look at your human design authority. This is important because your human design authority is your inner guidance system. It is your inner compass. It is always going to point to your true north of what really your purpose, your mission, your path, what you are put on this planet to do through the work that you're doing. And your authority is that inner guidance that's always going to help course correct and guide you in that direction. And this is going to help you stay on track with the type of content you're creating and the topics that you're going to be talking about, because then you're going to be able to run it through this filter, and it's going to help you like say yes to the things that are in alignment for you and say no to the things that are not in alignment for you. So based on your human design authority, you're going to be making these decisions that is ultimately you're going to take the action, and then you're going to bring it back to that awareness of, am I feeling more frustration or am I feeling more of that sense of satisfaction? So they really start to stack and work together. The third takeaway that I want you to walk away with, if you're working on building that magnetic brand using your human design, is looking at your energy centers. There are 9 energy centers in the human design chart. I'm not going to get into each and every single one of them, but just for your awareness, just for you to kind of walk away with today, when you start, this is important to look at your energy centers, because this tells you how to position your messaging in a way that is unique to you. And so it's almost like you're dropping the megaphone. You're no longer talking to everybody, but you're having that conversation with the right people, because you're basing it on your energy centers, where you're defined, where you're not defined. And that's going to allow you to show up in the messaging that you're putting out there and the way that you're putting out there, to, again, help draw in and focus in on the right people for you. So all of these things really stack together. And again, as you're starting to work with your energy centers, and start to create the messaging and the positioning around your content, your branding, and getting those pieces of things, those things out there and how you're showing up, you make those decisions based on your authority. And then you really look to see with the awareness of, am I stepping out of alignment, or am I creating more alignment for myself in this marketing system, in this content creation system, in this messaging that I'm putting out there? Like, is it working for me? And then you can go back and continue to adjust and refine it until you get to that point where it works for you. So biggest takeaway is, when you walk away and you work through, so the biggest takeaway is, you're given a system for your marketing, you follow a program, maybe you're in a program, a course, or working with a mentor, and that is fine. There are systems out there. There are proven systems out there that really work for your marketing, for your sales, for your offers, for the content that you're creating, for the branding that you're doing. All of these things are out there, and they're all wonderful resources. The key, though, is to really make it yours, is to dive into your human design chart and pull out the right pieces. Because with this particular client, these are just 3 of the things we worked on. We did cover more in our session together, but the key point is not just to go through and learn you can dive really deep into your human design, but the key point of really leveraging your human design is pulling those key pieces out and then infusing them and leveraging them to help develop and create a solution to whatever you're working on. So for this particular client, we got clarity on what her next steps were. She was confident in the decisions that she was making, and what she was starting to say no to, and what she was starting to say yes to, and what she was starting to experiment with. And she had full permission to just be herself. And she let go of the expectation that she felt like she had to show up and create these long Instagram captions and write. She had this permission to, hey, I am much more confident, and I love to talk. I love to speak. So I'm going to do video as my main source of creation. And that is fine, because that's going to spiral other sources. So that is how, in a nutshell, you build that magnetic brand, because you start with those key strengths, key talents, key gifts that you have to share with the world, and you pull them out and you bring them out into the world, and you infuse them into your messaging, into your marketing, into the way that you're showing up. Your people feel that. that is how you turn the light on in your lighthouse and you start to draw those people in, and you start to position your messaging so that you really start to have the right conversations with the right people to continue to pull them towards you into your world. And so that they become a part of whatever you're building. And that's how you're going to work to be magnetic and continue to amplify the impact that you're having on the community around you. So I hope this was helpful. If you have questions at all, drop them in the comments below. And if you're brand new, if this video brought up more questions than answers, check the link out that comes with this video. It will get you started with your human design. It will help you get your human design chart, walk you through getting started with your human design, and then it will give you some steps and some tips of how to then start applying your human design into your business. So go ahead and grab that. And as always, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. But thank you again so much for joining me, and I will catch you guys in the next episode of Your Business in HD. All right. Bye, everyone.